Hello everybody, my name is Dylan and my partner is Faisal, and working with our client we created the Walk Ashland app. So who is our client? Our client's name is Peter Finkel. He owns the Walk Ashland blog. His blog specializes in Ashland and its history. What is the problem he wants solved with this app? Well, our client had a problem. He has a deep knowledge and passion for Ashland and its history, but was limited in the ways he could share that knowledge and express that passion with others. He then had an idea to create an app that would take people around and teach them about Ashland and its history. The app he wanted to make is a walking tour app based around historic Ashland. What benefits does a user get from using this app? This app will allow users to purchase a tour, take it on their free time. It will be cheaper and more convenient than using a tour guide. It will also allow the user to learn about Ashland and its history while also getting exercise. What exactly is the Walk Ashland app? The Walk Ashland app is a guided tour app focused around historic moments in Ashland. The app will walk users through places in Ashland while sharing stories about its history. Each of these walks are represented by a tour. The tour will contain points of historic relevance to Ashland, and the user will be guided in order from one point to the next until the tour is completed. So what exactly are the requirements for making such an app? The requirements for the app are as followed. First, the app must be on iOS. When given a choice of iOS or Android, the client decided he wanted to host the app on iOS. Next, to create this app, you also need to be able to track where a user is, and you need to be able to guide the user to certain points. You also need to be able to pay for the upkeep that is generated from hosting the app. As mentioned above, the client wanted the app to be on iOS. And with that, you need to be able to generate enough revenue to cover the hosting fees Apple charges, which is about $100, and that's associated with the Apple developer account that is required to host any app on the App Store. We also decided to use Google Maps and Firebase. While generous in their pricing, they still have some small fees associated with them if you go above a limit. Google Maps API charges $5 every 40,000 requests when you make a route, although $200 of that will be waived every month. For the Firebase real-time database that we're using, it allows 10 gigabytes of downloads per month from the database, and that's just read and write requests. That's not images or audios. That stuff is associated with the storage, and the storage allows for 50K downloads a day for free, and about a gigabyte of downloading a day total. To be able to pay for the upkeep that is associated from those things, you have to sell the routes or ad space. In our case, we're going to sell routes, and that means that you have to manage those purchases. What that means is to be able to track what a user has purchased and what they haven't. To fulfill some of those requirements, the app needs the following features to function. The first feature is GPS and map. To create a walking tour, you need to be able to use GPS to track the users and take them to a waypoint. That represents an area of historical relevance. You also need to give a physical representation of this so the user knows where they're going. The final feature we need to implement is purchasing. To pay for the upkeep of the app, you need to monetize it using in-app purchases. There are also a number of technologies we need to use to fulfill the requirements and support the features. The first technology is Xcode and Swift. Since we're using iOS, we need an IDE for programming iOS apps. That's where Xcode and Swift come into play. Xcode is an IDE for creating and publishing iOS apps. and Swift is one of the available languages to program iOS apps in Xcode. The second technology we needed to use is GPS and Maps API. We had two choices, Apple Maps or Google Maps. While Apple Maps is cheaper and easier to implement in iOS apps, we really required Google's accuracy and improved functionality to make the app function appropriately. The third technology we're using is StoreKit. StoreKit is Apple's purchasing API. It's connected to the Apple development account, manages every aspect of a transaction, from if a user is eligible to purchase something, to them making and finishing a transaction, to if a user has purchased an item, and finally to take the funds from a user and transition them to the app owner. The final technology we're using is Google's Firebase. Firebase is a cloud-based database and storage system. We mainly decided to use it because it's easy to understand and implement, but it also has a generous free plan, and it's scalable. In the next part, my partner Faisal will give a demonstration of the app by going through the process of buying a tour, starting a tour, reaching some waypoint and reaching the end of the tour, and finally deleting a tour.
Hello everyone, this is Faisal and I will demonstrate the usage and capabilities of Walk Ashland, which is a guided audio tour application. As my partner Dylan mentioned, Walk Ashland app uses a variety of features from either Google or Apple. Upon launching the app, user is required to sign in with their Apple ID. Walk Ashland uses this information to create a new account for the user and save the data into a cloud database. Once the account is created, Walk Ashland will download all available tours from the database. Each tour displays info such as distance of the user from the starting point of the tour, type of a tour, time to complete a tour, and a basic description about the tour. The user can read more by clicking or tapping on a tour. The user is limited to listen to up to 4 audios and look at up to 4 pictures when taking a non-purchase tour. To start a tour, the user can tap on the start button. If the user is not within 1 mile from the tour, the user is given an option to navigate to the location of the tour by launching Apple Map and sharing tour's location. The user can either dismiss or navigate to the tour's location. Once on the playing screen, the user can manually play audios by selecting an audio from the list of audios and see the available pictures by tapping on the displaying picture on the screen. To buy a tour, the user must tap on the price button, and the user needs to confirm the purchase. If the payment process was successful, the tour is added to the user's account and the remaining pictures and audios will be downloaded. Here we can see the remaining pictures have been downloaded. And the user can simply delete a tour by swiping it to the left. To have Walk Ashland play the audios and display the corresponding pictures automatically, the user must give Walk Ashland the permission to access the device's location. If Walk Ashland have access to the user's location, it will start playing the audio and displaying the corresponding picture whenever the user reaches the next location. To better demonstrate the auto playing feature, I personally took a tour using Walk Ashland. The app used my current location coordinates to play the corresponding audio and display the corresponding picture. By changing the corresponding location icon, the app was successful to let me know which location audio is currently playing.
Ashland History Walk, the plaza and the founding of Ashland.
Begin near the Lithia Park sign at the entrance to the park at the south end of Ashland Plaza.
The first picture,
Look around at the park and plaza
the icon on
as
the
you
location
listen to
has
Chapter
changed.
1 of the audio tour.
Chapter 1, Native American Residents. In the centuries before European and American settlers began arriving in the Rogue Valley of southern Oregon,
To save time, I stopped recording and started the recording as I reached the next location.
This illustration is titled Winter Lodge of the Umpqua Indians from Frank Leslie's illustrated newspaper, April 24, 1858. The Shasta Indian winter lodges in Ashland may have been similar to this one. Now walk into Lithia Park, south along the main park path until you reach the lower duck pond.
As I reached location number 2, the icons on the map changed and the audio started playing. Also, the next available picture is displayed.
Chapter 2: First Known Euro-Americans in the Rogue Valley. In February 1827, Hudson's Bay Company fur trapper Peter...
Although we haven't reached the end of the tour, but the demonstration of Walk Ashland app ends here, and thanks for your time.
Before we conclude, I will quickly discuss how we tested our app and divided labor. When it came to labor, we divided the work by task. Sometimes that meant unfair work balance, so we made it up in other ways, like who communicated with the client or who does this outside task. We also frequently met and talked about issues and worked through issues together. Testing on Xcode means running the simulator to emulate different devices and iOS versions. We ran the simulator many times on different iOS versions and devices, making sure all the UI elements worked as intended and looking for unintended bugs. With this app, we're able to allow users to preview and purchase a tour. We can also track and guide them through points of a route on that tour. But this app was a big project, and there was always some new challenge to tackle. There are still bugs to be tested and code to be tweaked and optimized, and we would have liked to be able to give the client a way to dynamically create routes himself. But we've reached the end of our capstone, and it's time we set the project aside. This project taught us a lot about app development, client and developer relationships, and many, many more things. Me and my partner also reached the end of our time at SOU, and we would like to thank the teachers and students that helped guide us on this journey. Thank you all. We wish you a fulfilled and successful future. Stay safe in these trying times.